Hill with Parks Realty and Negotiating Nashville, and I am here today with Roger from Belltone Recording.
Hello.
He is a multi-instrumentalist and has recorded tracks for programs like Showtime, MTV, HBO, and a lot more. So thanks so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, this is it's a studio. I am a producer engineer. So in essence, I am the business. It's kind of unique being in the music business and having a studio there. You would think that the doors would just be open and we'd be handing flyers out trying to get people in. And this is not necessarily how this room works. I use this room, to bring in acts that I'm working with and recording and producing. So okay. I do get calls periodically from artists saying, "Hey, I need a room to come in and do vocals," and if it's someone that I know or someone that I've worked with, the doors are always open. Yeah. So that's basically how this business works. Yeah. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. How did you get started in music and pursue a career and all this?
I got started in music in third grade. Okay. That's when I started playing guitar. And had a band all the way through high school and went on the road professionally at 18 years old and toured nonstop for 6 years. Moved to Atlanta, lived there, toured, went to school there to study engineering and art. And then in '89, I moved to Nashville to play in a band. And we toured professionally for 12, 13 years. Mm-hmm. Ended up signing a deal as a writer with a publishing company, did that for a couple of years. Through that, I got into recording and working with bands, writing songs with bands and development and that type of things. And that kind of led me to where I am now.
Yeah. So you got started at an early age.
An early age. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and there's not a day where it feels like work. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate to still be doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the ultimate goal. Feel like you're not working when you're working.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. You're
That's
absolutely
awesome.
right.
So you've obviously have a long career in music, but how did you decide to establish your business here in Barren Hill?
Well, Barren Hill is kind of a hub for recording. I've got a real attachment to this area because it's where I moved to when I first moved to town. Mm-hmm. So it feels a lot like home to me. Yeah. What I love about this area is, there's all these homes like this that are converted and made into studios. It's a mixed-use zoning. Yeah. So it allows people like myself to kind of come into a house like this and be able to set up and work. Right. And make noise without worrying about looking over your shoulder.
Right.
The great thing about this area is it really feels like it's really coming up. Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen this area go through. This is the third wave I've seen this area go through. When I first moved here in '89, there was a mall there, Hundred Oaks Mall, yep. And the mall was kind of on the decline. Mm-hmm. Then I remember when it went into full decline, and a group came in and renovated the mall and painted everything red and all this red trim and stuff. And it was kind of an insurgence and resurgence. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyways,
reinvention.
Yeah. So the area started to kind of come up again, and then it kind of tapered off. And then when Vanderbilt came in and bought the place, it felt like it brought real stability to the area. And with that came the restaurants, came all this opportunity. And it's so great here when you have a band come to town. For example, there's a band I'm producing now that we just did 2 tracks here. And they came to town, they stayed down at the hotel down here, the Orchid. Is it the Orchid?
The Orchid or on Iris?
Yeah, Iris. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Iris. Yeah,
the Iris Hotel.
Yeah, it's a cool spot.
And when I moved here, it wasn't a cool spot.
Yeah, I know they've redone it, and so it looks a lot nicer now.
It was not a cool spot when I moved here in '89. It was a funny story is my parents were very accommodating, were very low key, no trouble whatsoever. You know, would roll with the punches. When I was living here with this band I was playing with, they came to visit, and I booked them in that hotel. It was called the 12 Oaks at the time, and I'll never forget. They got in about 9 that night, and I just said, "Well, come by tomorrow, and we'll come by to the band house, and we'll go to breakfast and stuff." At 7 in the morning, there was a knock on the door, and I opened the door, and it was my mom, and she was looking at me like, and all she said was, "Your father and I are moving to another hotel. I will call you when we find one. Go back to bed. I'll call you later." And,
oh no!
And walked away, and it was just like, and that's when I realized,
maybe not the best spot.
But it's so awesome now. So what's great is I can have a band stay there.
Yeah. They
can walk to work.
Right.
We can walk to restaurants. We have the park. They can walk around the park. There's if there's any gear needed, GC Pro next door. It's just ideal. Yeah,
really everything's kind of right here, and
I love the people of Barren Hill.
Yeah.
The police here are amazing. They have a reputation for being on top of it, and they are. They're great. This place feels very secure. I was in New England 2 months ago.
Okay.
There was a storm that blew through here, and I had abandoned the day before, and that door was unlocked, and I'd forgotten to lock it because I go out the other door, and the alarm went off at 6 at night.
Oh no!
And I was in New Hampshire, and I called the police department, and within 5 minutes they had police here to walk through the place and make sure everything was clear.
Wow!
Locked it back up and left, and it was just like, you just go, oh my God, these guys are the best.
Right. That's such great peace of mind knowing that. There's no amount of gratitude for that kind of, that kind of thing. So this place is amazing. There's some great restaurants here. There's easy access to healthcare, Vanderbilt. There's you can get on the interstate right away. The soccer stadium's coming in. There's so much going on in this area that it's really exciting. Yeah, there's a lot happening.
Really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So being in music, obviously you may have been to a few venues and seen a few shows. What's your favorite venue in Nashville?
Well,
or can you pick one?
Well, it is hard to pick one because there's so many good ones.
Right.
There's the classic venues. Like, I like rock and pop music, so for me, the Exit Inn is a classic. We have the Basement East. We have the Basement OG, which is up here.
Right.
There's the Bluebird Cafe, which is 2 miles that way, which is just a landmark. There's so many great venues.
Right.
It is the opportunities are limitless.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really great.
One of the benefits of being in Music City, for sure. So.
It is definitely grown, and it is continuing to grow.
Yeah.
It is incredible. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, it's amazing, and definitely a great place to be. Yep. Customers are coming in, and what do you think they like most about working with you and Belltone Recording? And
well, I'd like to think it's my skill set, but I also probably not charge. I probably don't charge as much as I could. But I'm a very artist-friendly producer engineer. The dollar is getting stretched quite a bit in the music business now. So the old standard, the old rates, the old way of doing things is so much more expensive and clumsy, and the music business now is moving very quickly. People don't have as much money as they have. There's a lot of private money. There's not a lot of labels are difficult to deal with because they're just slow. They move slow. They so the way with my skill set and with what I do, I'm able to move quickly. I'm able to turn stuff around quickly. that sounds competitive, and I do that at probably a quarter of what should be charged.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just an artist-friendly producer engineer, and I feel like there's a lot of great talent out there that needs to have attention given to them, and I'm able to do that the way that I work.
Right.
You know, I'm able to kind of focus on that, and that I feel like is probably my biggest asset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe having been in a band before, you can relate to bands and musicians and being on the other side.
Yeah, yeah, and I understand words like recoupable and all this other stuff, and how that can become kind of a noose for a lot of artists.
Yeah.
So I kind of incorporate my experiences into the way that I work with bands and treat bands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's great. What is something maybe that people don't know about you or your business, or
something they don't know about me or my business? Well, it's interesting. I am a songwriter, and I know that a lot of people, when a band will come in, they might not think that, you know, because you're sitting behind a desk and you're positioning mics and you're discussing arrangements and all this other stuff, they feel like that maybe, you know, they might think that I'm more of an engineer, and I'm not. I'm actually more of a musician and a writer that has an engineer skill set. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a different shift, you know.
Yeah, a unique position that you're in.
Yeah, it's just the way I've always operated. You know, I've always been intrigued with recording stuff, and that, as a writer, that's always been part of how I've developed my arranging skills and all that other stuff, is working in multi-track situations. When I say multi-track, the ability to record a guitar part and then add another guitar part, add a vocal and because I've always experimented with that from such a young age, I've developed a fairly keen arranging skill, and I feel like that's really helpful with bands. Right. You know, it offers them an opportunity to solve some problems with their songs. Yeah. You know, it's one thing to sit in a studio and just strum away on your part. It's another thing to think about the song, the trajectory of the song, how the other parts affect the song for the good or not good, and being able to sort through that stuff. Yeah. You know, I think it's kind of an old school approach to working with bands. You know, there are people like George Martin. There's producers that were very heavy-handed in regards to the arrangements and stuff. And although I try not to be heavy-handed in that stuff, because I feel like the best success comes through dialogue. I do have that ability to work on arrangements and kind of help suss that out. Right. You know, I don't just throw a mic up and go, yeah, it sounds good. Let's go. You know. See ya. Yeah.
Wow. There's so much behind the scenes that goes into it. I think that a lot of people probably don't realize or even know about.
Yeah, so. It's a weird kind of subculture, I guess. Yeah. You know, especially in this town, since there's so many people that do it. Right. You know? And what I love about Nashville is people still make records in Nashville the way records used to be made. Yeah. But there's also a modern aesthetic to the way that records are made, that are people know how to do that in this town. Yeah. It's
probably pretty rare these days, and
it is. It's you know, as any art form, there's no real set of rules, but there are a set of rules. Right. I mean, you know, part of the beauty in art, in any kind of art form, is to break the rules. You got to know what the rules are. And in music, the rules are what has been successful has kind of set up what some of the rules are. Right. But technology has removed some of those obstacles, and technology has opened up an opportunity for artists to express themselves without jumping through as many hoops. Yeah. Look at Billie Eilish. She's a great example. Her and her brother, the record that won so many Grammys a couple years ago was done in their bedroom. Right. And those are two incredibly talented artists that sat in a bedroom and worked out their arrangements and worked out the songs and recorded them, and technology allowed them to do that.
Right.
When it used to be quite a process to go to a studio and to sit down and record.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands that have a connection to this romantic idea of recording to tape, the way records used to be made.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun to record the tape. The problem is there's a large percentage of these younger bands that have this desire to do that when they understand the amount of work involved in recording to tape, being able to play your instruments in time, in tune, all these other things, it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
But technology has allowed that opportunity, people to create a lot of great art without jumping through so many hoops.
Right. Yeah, I think technology, obviously, it's changed every industry. And, the way people do things and recording and
it's crazy. It's racing at a speed now where it's insane.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of young artists that I've worked with that have gotten a glimpse into that and have jumped on board with understanding the technology and taking advantage of it, and it's really exciting to see them blossom as artists.
Right.
Because they start to, they become empowered.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you do kind of have to go with the growth and where technology's going, and you have to be willing to learn it and kind of embrace that change. So.
Yep, absolutely right.
Definitely can be a challenge for
It
some.
can be. There's the learning curve involved in that. Part of the process in the learning curve is the feedback you get from people.
Yeah.
And if an artist is insular, and if an artist doesn't have an opportunity to hear the good and the bad from people that are outside of their comfort zone, I think that that can either stunt their growth or stop their growth altogether if they're not able to take that criticism or that critique and build from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's with any business, you have to be willing to take that criticism and
yes, you do.
Learn from it as opposed to shutting down and
that's right.
It
is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
The second you do a piece of art and you put it on a wall, the second you put it on a wall, you are inviting people to say yay or nay.
Right.
And and not everyone's going to love what you do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been my mantra for a long time. I want to treat artists and work with artists and treat them the way that I would want to be treated.
Right. Kind of the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. And
we all got to be able to sleep at night, and the only way I can figure out how to be able to sleep peacefully is to treat people the way that I want to be treated.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you sleep like a baby.
That's right.
Just be a nice person. That's all
you can actually look at yourself in the mirror as you brush your teeth at night.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Roger, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Paige.
I appreciate it and learned so much about the music and recording industry and Barren Hill. So Barren
Hill is an awesome place.
Absolutely.
And so many great opportunities, and even if you don't work here, just to come here, and there's some great restaurants here. There's amazing food, amazing people, and there's a rumor that out my window here across the street there's a park. On the other side, on the east side of Bransford, there's another park also, and in that park, it's my understanding that they're going to be putting an amphitheater.
Oh wow!
So
that would be perfect. All the music right here, just keep it going.
And then south of us, or actually north of us, that's south. North of us, half a mile is the new soccer stadium that's going in. So it's going to get very interesting and very exciting here over the next couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Love to see the growth in Barren Hill.
Love to see the growth in Nashville.
Yes, absolutely. And it's definitely here.
This town is man, it is wired for sound. I'm telling you, it is it's very exciting to see.
Right, yeah.
I've lived in town since '89, and my wife and I are just in awe of the growth and just how many exciting young people are coming to town and how vibrant it is and how much great food there is. I can remember moving to, when I moved here in '89, we'd have record people that would come to town to see our band or whatever, and their biggest complaint was there was no good restaurants.
Right.
It's like,
now there's a million and the list goes on and on. And
on and on.
Yeah.
On and on.
Well, it's super exciting to see all the growth, and I love that locals are excited about the growth as well. That's always good.
Well, thank you so much, Paige, for having me.
Thank you. I so appreciate it, and thank y'all for watching. And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.